Hi guys, and welcome back here to Drone Emotion, a channel where we do drone videos and where we cover the most recent and most relevant drone news. Today my friends, we're back here once again with a brand new video with some breaking news for all of you, and that is because we have some brand new images of what appear to belong to the DJI Mavic 3. These are some brand new renders that we have for all of you. These have just been leaked, and in today's video we're going to be sharing with you all of these images, analyzing them, telling you what's new, what do we have right there, talking about the specs of the Mavic 3, including flight time, resolution, and a whole lot more info you're not going to want to miss on today's video. But before we get started, if you're new to the channel, welcome here, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because in this channel we will always be the first ones to bring you the most recent drone news, no matter what. So if you want to keep up to date with any upcoming DJI products such as the Mavic 3, the Mini 3, or any other new DJI product coming in the near future, guys, this is the place to come for all of those updates. And also, we're currently in the road to 10,000 subscribers. So if you're watching today's video and you're not subscribed yet, well, I invite you to go ahead and join the Drone Emotion family so you can help us get to that goal, which we're really not that far away anymore, less than 3,000 subscribers away. So with that being said, my friends, why don't we just go ahead and dive right into today's video, which is going to be a quite exciting one, and that is because we have some brand new images for all of you regarding the DJI Mavic 3. So in the past few weeks, we've had a couple leaks on the Mavic 3. They have been intensifying day by day, and well, just today we have some brand new renders for all of you, because they have been leaked on the Chinese social media WeChat, and well, we have all of the details that you need to know. So without any much further ado, guys, why don't we just go ahead and take a look at them right here on screen. There we have them, guys. What do you think? Without a doubt, these look really good. Now, they are a bit similar to what we had about 2 weeks ago that were leaked thanks to our good friend Tilt's drone, but these are a bit different, and that is because if you look close enough, you will see that on the camera we're going to be able to see all the camera details, which include the aperture, the lens equivalent, and a whole more info. We're gonna go ahead and dive right into it. So what do we have right there? Well, this is going to be the DJI Mavic 3. This is going to be the standard version. There's going to be a Mavic 3 Pro that's going to be having a more professional camera setup. But what we find right there is a dual camera setup, which appears to have a 1-inch sensor camera in the bottom, which is going to have a resolution of 5.7K, which is quite good, and it's going to be having a lens equivalent of 24 millimeters, and it's going to have an aperture of f2.8. Now in the top we have our zoom camera, which is going to be able to do 7x zoom, which is quite nice. Now, is this going to be a fixed aperture or a variable aperture, which is what I know all of you guys want? Well, if you ask me, I think DJI will not release the Mavic 3 with a fixed aperture. I think that will be a big mistake, and I think for everyone out there wondering, is this fixed? Well, I don't think it is, and that is because on the current Mavic 2 Pro, if you go ahead and take a close look at the Hasselblad camera, which we have right here on the screen, you will see that underneath the Hasselblad branding and underneath the lens, we see the f2.8 28mm lens equivalent. So it looks pretty much the same as what we have with that render. So I think it's safe to say that most likely the Mavic 3 will have a variable aperture, because we know that the Mavic 2 Pro also has it. So it is definitely very likely that will happen. Now let's go ahead and keep on moving on and take a look at what other renders we have, because we have multiple to go through. Well, there we have other renders. Now these are not actual images, but they were based on actual photos. Unfortunately, this is not the actual Mavic 3 in hand, but these were based on photos of the actual Mavic 3. Now they are rendered, but unfortunately the size, dimensions, and overall design is not 100% accurate. Now this is definitely going to give us a really good idea of what the Mavic 3 is going to be looking like, especially that camera, because according to our multiple sources, they have confirmed that the camera setup is very accurate to what we're going to be having on the Mavic 3. So I think that's good news, right? Because we get to get a head start on what this new Mavic 3 is going to look like. Well, what other things do we have? Well, DJI is also going to include a 16mm lens adapter for the camera, and also we're going to be having Apple ProRes format inside. And unfortunately with this Mavic 3 there's going to be no internal memory. If you want the internal memory, you're going to have to go to the Mavic 3 Pro, and that is going to have a 1TB internal memory. Now, what about flight time? Well, the battery size has been increased, and we're going to be having a flight time of 45 minutes. Now, the battery is going to be mounted from the back, just like what we had with the Mini 2, which is nice. Now, what about the obstacle avoidance? Will this be a Skydio 2 level obstacle avoidance? Well, unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be able to get to that level, although I wish they were. Hopefully they might surprise, but as far as what I'm looking right here, it looks like it's not going to be as precise and as perfect as what a Skydio does with their Skydio 2, but I think this is definitely going to be a much improved optical avoidance system, and we have received confirmation of that. Well, what about the side sensors? Do we see those there? Well, we don't, and that is because the back sensors have now been switched from the middle to the sides, to the corners of the shell of the drone. Now, this has been done in order to save some weight. So we now have front optical avoidance sensors, which are bigger in size. Now, sensors in the back, which are located in the corners, and of course our optical flow sensors in the bottom, and our upward sensors in the top part of the shell of the drone. So that's definitely really good news. We're still gonna be having 360-degree coverage, even though we're not going to be having those side sensors, which I think a lot of people wanted on the sides, but don't worry, you're still going to be getting that coverage. Now, what else do we see with those renders? Well, we see that the arms are really not that proportionate, but that's to be expected. These renders were made around June, July, so no need to panic there. But I think even though these are not 100% accurate, they give us a good idea, as I have already mentioned. Now, if you watched our previous video where we talked about the leaks from Rafael, who is our friend from Drone Modelismo Brazilian YouTube channel, well, he was able to get an exclusive view and access to the Mavic 3. Now, unfortunately, he was not able to take pictures of the drone and share them with us, but he was able to share some sketches that he made. Now, those sketches are definitely more accurate, and we have received confirmation of that. So let's go ahead and take a look at that right here on screen. So there we have those renders from our friend Rafael. Now those are more accurate according to what we have been hearing from multiple sources. So those are going to be more accurate, particularly in the size of the drone and in also the arms, which are a bit disproportionate on what we just got today. Now, the sketches from Rafael, these are drawings, they're not actual images. Hopefully we should be having those relatively soon here in the next few days in the channel, so make sure you subscribe and turn on your push notifications so you don't miss out on those videos as soon as they go live here in the channel. But as you can see, those front sensors have been significantly increased in size. That's something I really like. Now, what about the weight? Well, it's definitely expected that Mavic 3 is going to come at under 900 grams, and I think that's something very important for DJI to keep in mind, especially because with all of these strict regulations in Europe, I think it's going to be a must for it to weigh under 900 grams, although that is still not confirmed. So that is still something to be defined, but I will definitely expect the Mavic 3 to weigh under that 900 gram mark. Now, what about the Mavic 3 Pro? What are we going to be having there? Well, unfortunately, we don't have any render so far, but it is expected to have a micro four thirds sensor with an 8K 30 frames per second resolution, which is also going to be quite impressive. I think for most of you, I think that the Mavic 3, and from what I've been seeing here in the comments and from all of you guys, I think that the Mavic 3 is not going to be enough for you to upgrade. And what I'm seeing is that you want something more, and I agree 100% with you. I think that DJI has had over 3 years to develop the Mavic 3, and they really need to surprise us with something revolutionary. We just don't need an evolution. We need something new, something different, something we have never seen before. We just don't need a brand new design. We need something better, and I think that micro four thirds sensors might be it. So hopefully the flight time and the weight for the micro four thirds sensor might might stay under 900 grams. It's still to be defined. So those are the latest renders that we have of the Mavic 3. So according to our latest sources, they appoint us and they are telling us that they are quite accurate, obviously not in proportion, but in overall design and shape, they're pretty good, and they give us a pretty good idea of what we can expect with the Mavic 3 coming later this year. So that is the latest renders that we have of the Mavic 3. As soon as we have any more new info, guys, don't worry, you will have it here first. Thanks so much for watching, and see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Turn Emotion, signing out.